location.
Undisclosed location. No, not undisclosed. We're here at the Homestead Athletic Geek HQ.
Oh, now it's disclosed.
Yeah. And knowing is half the battle since we've disclosed it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. I am the Athletic Geek, and I am joined once again this week by Jedi Jason Kruger. And I have an itchy leg.
So, hello, nerds.
Yes. So, if you've never seen this show before, this is the Just Two Marks Wrestling Recap Show. Jedi and I have been friends for about 15 years. We've watched wrestling together 15 years. We love talking wrestling. We love sharing our love and talking wrestling with you, the viewer. But we're not insiders. We're not in the business. Our opinions carry no more weight than any other fans because at the end of the day, we are Just Two Marks. And we have a special edition here. We're going to briefly touch on a few of the small, few things that happened this week. All on SmackDown. Not really much happening on Raw to really talk about.
Shock.
And then we're going to disclose our top 10 matches of the year, and we'll basically steal what some other YouTube channels have done and do what the Wrestling Observer does and go through a list of the awards and give the Geeky Awards to various things. Oh, Ray's here. I see you. And so first let's jump into SmackDown. First of all, Rusev won on Rusev Day. So congratulations to him. Kind of sucks for Shinsuke, who's kind of had I feel like should have had a better 2018 than he did.
Yeah.
You gotta love winter weather, just making my skin dry because I'm just scratching my leg.
He had the U.S. Championship since July.
And
did anybody know it?
Yeah. I enjoyed the Jeff Hardy storyline, and I enjoyed his being red, white, and blue Shinsuke and everything like that. But beyond that, now he went with all that. So hopefully Rusev can raise that prestige of that title back up. And maybe put that on par with the Intercontinental belt on Raw.
Right. But his work cut out for him.
Yes.
It could happen.
Just at least make it a little bit. If it could be half as respected as what that Intercontinental belt is on Raw.
True.
But the big news is we get a segment involving AJ Styles and Vince McMahon. This might have been the first time we actually see AJ and Vince. Together, I don't think we've ever on camera seen them together, so we haven't really seen the segment.
Just like the last year when we saw Vince interact with the wrestler, physical contact.
Yep. So, he's there and he's saying that he wants to see
I believe he said the animal.
The animal come out of AJ Styles, kind of said if this is the house AJ Styles built, why isn't he there? And AJ punched. I thought it was a good little segment. A lot of people kind of talking about it. It was, I thought it was decent. Don't really know what else there to say about it, but I know
like how he slapped him and then was surprised when he got punched in the face. Cute Pikachu meme.
Yeah. And we also get a nice cameos from Finlay and Jamie Noble again. So
yes.
That's what's fun. I feel like
what you doing?
I'm gonna tilt this camera just a wee bit more up. See if that helps anything. Does it? Yes, it does. Cool. There wasn't really a whole lot to say about it. I thought it was a decent segment. It's probably going to lead to some character changes in AJ going forward. Maybe not a villainous turn, but some character changes. But all in all, I really think there's a whole lot to talk about there. But I know that's kind of the big talk of the world now, or the wrestling world now. So
been a little out of the loop. Holiday.
Yeah,
so I apologize.
But now it's time to get to what y'all came here for. That's right, it is the Geeky Awards and the top 10 matches of the year. And we're going to start with Jedi. We're going to start with the top 10 matches of the year and then go to our 5 awards, which is Most Underrated, Most Improved, Promotion/Brand of the Year, Show of the Year, and then finally Wrestler of the Year. So yes, other podcasts and YouTubers have done that, but you know, it's kind of the year end. It's what everybody's doing, so they may beat us to the punch because they have more money and more time, and that's their job.
I was gonna say they probably put more thought into it than I did too.
But if you got a problem with it, with us doing this along with them, then see Bad Luck Fale at the G1 Climax press conference for my thoughts on those people.
If you haven't, go see it. It's like 38 seconds.
Yeah, it's great.
It's very concise.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Jedi, what is your number 10 favorite wrestling match this year?
I literally have these in no discernible order, so I'm just gonna.
Mine are. So his are in no order. Mine are in my order. So
that's fair. The only one. I will save the one that stood out to me the most this year for last. But other than that, I'm just gonna start throwing them out there. So even though it had kind of a wonky end, I enjoyed the Triple Threat Women's TLC match, first ever. It's probably because I'm a big Asuka fan and I was just happy she finally won, but they killed themselves. I mean, I thought Charlotte for real was like severely injured after that leg drop.
And it was a great match. It to me, the finish does kind of just keep it off. But granted,
you've also seen more wrestling this year than I have,
and
so this is like stuff I've seen.
Yeah. And even then,
you're
there's going to be...
wonder where some of my stuff, where some...
Well, but there's also going to be people watching this go like, oh, where's this from Rev Pro? Where's this from PWG?
True.
Where's this from...
I saw one list, they were mentioning stuff from the British indie scene, and I was like I've seen any of that, you know?
Yeah. What I've seen is good, but I just don't keep up with it enough.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's like...
and also, I just want to point out that I wore my new You Just Made the List. It's not really new, but it's a shirt I just don't wear very often because it's a special occasion. It's a list. And I got it for $5 on the Shop Zone, so.
Can't beat that. 6-man ladder match for the North American Championship.
Oh, no, my turn. My turn for 10.
Oh, it's your turn. Oh, sorry.
Well, there you go.
Didn't. Right.
Well, mine is also from TLC. It is AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan from TLC. Thought it was a really good match, told a really good story of... I think it's like Daniel Bryan, even though I kind of don't really... I feel it's still too easy, him being, the whole, like, super vegan, environmentalist villain. But he wrestled the match in the way that a villain wrestler of his stature should, where he didn't really cheat, but he still, he was still aggressive, but he knew when to cower off, and he won... fairly, but he didn't win fairly, like, in a way that completely shatters AJ Styles.
Right.
Like how he looks. It's still one of those where you can walk. He won.
Decisive.
You won in a way that would make you excited, like, going, well, if AJ ever gets another shot, he's got this, and I like that.
Not like when he beat Big Cass, and it's like, well then, that happened.
Yes.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Well, you already said it, so go ahead and just...
6-man ladder match, North American Championship. It
was good.
It was a good match. I don't know if it was 5 stars, but it was a good match.
Yes.
I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of it. You had so many bodies in there that knew what they were doing, It was... And they did.
I think it's funny, because of that, Lars Sullivan has more 5-star matches than Daniel Bryan.
Oof. Awkward.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Because... yeah. It kind of kills me a little on the inside to say that, but it's the truth. And that's not a knock on Lars. It's a knock on somebody who I personally respect, that people think he's the end-all, be-all of match ratings.
Yeah. Welcome to irony, I guess. Not much more to say about it. I mean, it's a hell of a way to kick off a championship.
Yep. Mine is, my next one is the Golden Lovers versus the Young Bucks. New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Style Evolved. This match was just a beautiful story being told with the mistrust with Matt and and Kenny and the Bullet Club breaking apart at the seams, the Elite breaking apart at the seams, Kenny being torn between having Coda back, but also losing the new friends. He's kind of his new friends are drifting apart from him. And they were able to convey, those kind of emotions into one match. And also just It tells a really good story. For people that say that the Young Bucks, are just do flippy stuff and they don't work body parts or act like body parts hurt or anything like that. Cornet. Oh, sorry, I have frog in my throat there. Check out this match and get back to me because, yeah, they definitely proved their versatility and proved that while they might kind of in some matches overdo their flips and stuff like that, it's they're not those kind of wrestlers, and they're very much one of the best tag teams of all time, both of them. And yeah, it was an amazing match, told an incredible story, and yeah, number 9.
All right, so I guess next that means number 8.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is probably higher in the overall ranking. I'm just kind of reading my list as I spitballed it together. The last woman standing match between Charlotte Flair and Becky Lynch.
Oh yeah, well that's on my list, but where?
Right. I mean, yeah, I don't think I really. If you've seen it, I don't think I need to explain why that's for the top matches of the year.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, hell of a outing there.
Right. My number 8 is Kenny Omega versus Tetsuya Naito from the opening night of B Block action in the G1 Climax. Well, this probably wasn't as good as the Naito versus Omega matches from the previous 2 years. It was still a fantastic match from both individuals. Really kickstarted the G1 off. The B Block, which was the the best block. Not a knock on Jay White, Okada, or Tanahashi in the A Block, but the B Block really brought it this year. The G1 Climax, and yeah, just a really good match between my top 2 favorite guys in New Japan. Not as good as their G1 Climax Finals match from last year, or their match from the year before where the winner went to the finals. But still a tremendous match, and I'm really hoping that we get to see Naito and Omega go at it, and maybe for the IWGP Championship, depending on what Kenny's going to do contractually.
Yeah, right.
So, or what AEW or whatever. I don't think he's going to WWE, but with what AEW is going to mean for New Japan, we'll see.
Right.
But yeah, that is my number 8.
All right. Next on my scrolling down list, Ricochet versus Adam Cole at TakeOver Brooklyn 4. I enjoyed the hell out of that myself. I mean, that one spot really jumped out at me when he did I think it was a shooting star press and got caught perfectly with a super kick. Like,
yeah, that was
the
awesome.
timing on that was insane.
There's so many of these matches that I would have liked to included, but I just,
That's fair. See, I've seen a lot less than you have because I'm very spotty and sporadic about what I watch anymore.
Right.
So my list might be a little weird and all over the place, but that's what I got. So yeah, I would I would probably highly recommend just watch all the takeovers from this year.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
watch all the takeovers and watch all of the G1 Climax.
Yeah. So, yeah. There's your homework assignment right
there. Yeah.
Mine too. I have next to watch.
Well, you gotta get New Japan World first.
This is true. We'll just be here a lot more often or something to watch everything. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
if you want to
I got time.
If you want to wake up, if you want to come at 8 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the morning next Friday, come watch Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
I don't think that's in the cards for anybody. Well, for him, I'm
going on that weekend.
Yeah. All right. So number 7.
Yes, number 7. What we got?
Well, for you.
Well,
Oh, yours. Oh.
I believe I just said.
Oh yeah, yours was that. Okay. Amateur hour here.
Hey, well,
it's all good.
I'm not saying numbers, so I'm throwing.
My number 7 is, and this is one that, objectively speaking, yes, there were better matches. There were a lot better matches than this match all year. There's a lot of matches that, objectively speaking, I could say that were better. However, this was probably one of the best wrestling experiences I've ever had in person, and one of the best moments I've ever experienced as a wrestling fan. The only time I've ever cried at a wrestling show, Cody versus Nick Aldis from All In for the NWA World's Heavyweight Championship. The atmosphere, was amazing. Hearing, the goosebumps with the big grand entrances with Cody coming out with Dreamer and Glacier and DDP and and then the kind of the Nightmare Family jumpsuits, but then Aldis coming out with Daivari and Jarrett, and they were in suits, and it's kind of like it was the closest thing I would ever see to seeing Dusty and Ric Flair live, and it was a very emotional ending, a very emotional moment. I could literally feel the building shake as this match took place, and it was just an amazing experience and an amazing match. So, yes, there were so many matches that I left off my list that probably were objectively better matches. Undisputed Era versus Mustache Mountain, the six-man ladder match, Ricochet versus Adam Cole. The other two WWE Championship matches with Bryan and AJ, the TLC match. This is kind of my official honorable mention part. The other two Daniel Bryan matches, the TLC match for the SmackDown Women's title, but just in terms of again being there, this has got to make it on the list, and I'm not going to insult it by just putting it barely on there. It deserves a big spot on the list because this isn't what we think are the best. This is our favorites.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
That's where
I got one on here that objectively is not that great at all, but I enjoyed it. So, all right, so we're number 6 now. I'm just throwing out numbers there. Kairi Sane and Shayna Baszler at TakeOver Brooklyn 4.
That was
I know a lot of people like their War Games one, but I don't know. I really like the TakeOver where at the very end she got her in the clutch and she rolled through and got the pin. And I don't know. I thought that one was pretty great. The other one the last one soured me a little bit just because there was the interference and stuff. Even though not really, but just a little.
Just kind of a side note. A few weeks ago we talked about what women we felt would actually be in the future worthy of that main event at WrestleMania spot, and I think that Shayna Baszler's up there.
Oh yeah, good grief.
There's some women that I'm just not particularly sold on as much as other folks on the internet. And that's not a knock on their talent. I'm just not sold on them being as great as the internet says they are. But I think both those ladies are definitely up there and could very much.
Oh yeah.
If they don't get Asuka, I mean, granted, Asuka's the champion now, but they've it's about fucking time.
Yeah, right.
But
yeah, I agree. Oh, surely not. Sure. Well, you say that about Asuka, but surely they can't fuck up Baszler.
No. At least I hope.
It's like take some talent.
Yes. Well, we said the same thing about Asuka.
Oh yeah, that's true.
So, number 6 for me is Kota Ibushi versus Hiroshi Tanahashi, the G1 Climax Finals. Again, there's better matches that Tanahashi had in New Japan this year, but I really enjoyed this match. I honestly, I enjoyed it. I'm not a Vince Russo fan or a Last Jedi fan, but, I liked it because I thought for sure going into it that Kota was going to win and we were going to get that Kenny versus Kota big match at Wrestle Kingdom this year. And then, not that I'm anti-Kota or just or nothing like that, but when Tanahashi ended up winning, I was pleasantly surprised. Even though I would have been perfectly okay with Cohen, I was pleasantly surprised because I just knew for sure that they were going to give us the Golden Lovers going up against each other at Wrestle Kingdom, and instead we get another storyline of the old guard of New Japan who maybe isn't a fan of what what this new breed is doing versus the new generation, and it's the old versus the new, the face of the expansion versus the man that saved the company. going to Wrestle Kingdom and I'll start here, and it was just my jaw dropped when he hit that last high fly flow and beat Coda. I like had the whirlwind of like, you know, aww, and then can reflect on it now as a good match and great effort by both wrestlers.
I wish I could say the same thing about any of the WWE decisions this year.
Coda,
go, huh?
you know, this ain't gonna be the last time you hear Coda on this list, and spoilers. And you know, obviously, you know, Tanahashi had a match that was really good. Really good. It was great. It was amazing, and held in high regard by a lot of people, a lot of journalists on with Okada earlier in the year. But to me, I like this one better. So, yeah.
I apologize. I am falling asleep here.
Yeah. It is. He's got kids. He's got kids, man.
They were.
He needs that real job that he works during the day.
What, they were especially on point this evening. Good grief. All right. So next, number 5, I suppose, AJ Styles versus Samoa Joe at Hell in a Cell. I enjoyed the heck out of that finish when they. Joe had him in the clutch, and he actually tapped, but the ref didn't see it and called the pin because his shoulders were also down.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't play into it at all after that.
But
it was a heck of it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoyed the heck out of that. Out of all their encounters this year, which I know they kind of almost did the same thing they did with Nakamura and ran it to the ground a little bit, but which sounds so wrong. How do you do that? I don't understand.
You're the WWE.
Yeah, right.
That's how you do
it's
that.
the only way. But that one in particular jumped out at me as just hella enjoyable. So throwing that one on there.
All right. Well, my number 5. I said he wouldn't. That wasn't gonna be the last time you'd see Kota Ibushi on this list, and here we go. Next match is Kenny Omega versus Kota Ibushi, the B Block Finals of the G1 Climax. Just an amazing match that. Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega would have with one another, and the winner would go on to the finals, you know, with the both of them, you know, wanting to, you know, Kenny still never with a singles win over Kota, and Kenny driven to, doesn't want to, you know, hurt Ibushi, but, you know, he wants to be the first IWGP champion in this modern era, you know, of the G1, where the winner gets to main event Wrestle Kingdom. He wanted to be the first IWGP champion to get to win the G1 and choose his own opponent.
Right.
And Kota looking to win the G1. So told a good story and just really good match. And yeah, the last 2 nights of the G1 were amazing. So, and we'll more on that later.
All right. So we're at number 4.
Number 4.
Alright, so this one's going to make everybody roll their eyes, appropriately enough. And honestly, honorable mention, the best match at WrestleMania was probably Ronda Rousey's match. But I enjoyed the hell out of the spectacle that was John Cena versus The Undertaker.
Oh.
It's just the way
His
they
favorites,
did it. I didn't see it coming, and he just destroyed him, and it was just... Yeah, the body language and stuff, it was funny, and it was very enjoyable. Like, I honestly don't want to see Undertaker wrestle again. He's broken down, and he has no business being in there. But that one spectacle was enjoyable, especially it being John Cena of all people, because you're kind of still used to him.
I would
being
like to see
Superman.
them do a rematch at WrestleMania
fair.
and let Taker kind of go off with somebody who I know could carry him to a good retirement match. I feel like Cena... A match with Cena in the, at WrestleMania would be a better end to his career, a better match than what we thought the Roman match would have been 2 years ago. So
yeah, I agree with that. But and like I said, I don't really want to see him in the ring unless it's going to be something where someone can carry him to a retirement. But it was entertaining, so it's on my list because, like I said, my watching has been limited this year. So yeah.
Well,
roll your eyes. Dead man style.
Well, much like number 4 for me, and I feel bad that it's not higher, but it's not a knock on this match, but it's just how good the other 3 were. But
yeah, that's fair.
it was an amazing match. Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, last woman standing from Evolution. This should have been 5 stars, Dave. Just saying, Dave. Should have been 5 stars. But it was an amazing match. Again, I'm big on storytelling and just with the way the two women work. Like Charlotte and doing the figure 4 up the ladder, and Becky, burying Charlotte underneath all the different weapons, and then like when she got out, just like the look of like shock and terror on her face, but then how Becky was able to overcome that and still walk out, proves why she is the man. And it's the match that to me made it so there is no choice. Becky Lynch has to make it.
Yeah, I agree.
This year, she has to have the right opponent. No offense, you can't just put her in there with Nikki Bella. But Becky Lynch with the right storyline, the right opponent needs to go on last.
Yep.
At MetLife Stadium this year. So, that's my number 4. Number 3.
Number 3. What we got? Aleister Black versus Johnny Gargano at TakeOver War Games 2. The story told there was pretty cool. Gargano had Aleister Black's number for the first third of that match. He countered literally freaking everything. It was just a thing of beauty to watch. Yeah. And then he started getting cocky and Aleister took over. But I don't know. I enjoyed the way they crafted it and the ending of it too.
I like the subtleties of that match. With like Gargano wearing like Punisher themed tights. Because the Punisher's kind of like the anti-hero who has to do what he has to do, and that's kind of like how Gargano was like, I had to take you out because, and then like he was kind of
the right thing to do. Necessary.
With Black kind of being like, his, making him atone for his sins, knowing that that's not you, but you're gonna have to pay. Right. You're not a bad person, but you still did it, and it's not just
going to be pay and then tried to confront the puppet master. Yeah, that's still excellent. That was just
speaking of Johnny Gargano, my number 3 is Johnny Gargano versus Andrade Cien Almas, TakeOver Philadelphia. I just knew I was witnessing something special during this match. It was just like with the way everything was going. I just felt like, I already knew of Johnny Gargano, before he even signed with WWE. I followed him in Dragon Gate USA and Chikara. He wrestled locally at St. Louis Anarchy. I'd met him, seen him wrestle there several occasions. Talked to him, met him, he's a great guy. But, just kind of watching this was to me like, I felt like this was his coming out party as a single star. Like, I'd already known like how great he was, but this was to me like on the WWE in front of the world on a takeover on the WWE network. Finally, showing how great he was, and it's just like as everything just kept building and building, I'm just like kind of here watching like I even said to my buddy who was watching that takeover with, said Johnny Gargano is turning himself is showing himself to be a superstar here tonight. And just amazing match.
Piggybacking off of that, number 2 for me is also Gargano versus Almas in the same show, so not much more to follow up on there.
Well, to kind of go with that, number 2 for me is Johnny Gargano versus Tommaso Ciampa. TakeOver New Orleans, just an unbelievable, emotional story being told with Johnny Gargano fighting for his career in NXT and closing an already amazing show out on such a note, and the use of the weapons, the crutches and the knee brace, and the symbolism there was amazing. And it was just a really good time. I was going back and forth. In fact, there's even people that I've revealed the list to, that might see this and be like, wait a minute, you said... I went back and forth on what'd be number 2 and what'd be number 3 for a long time now, but I finally, after watching them both again, just had to give the slight nod, just because of the raw emotion in the Gargano Ciampa match, I had to give the nod to that one.
Yeah.
So
That's you may not be surprised to hear that's on number 1 on my list.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I haven't watched much NXT up till this year, and even then, it's mostly been a little bit of takeover here and there. I was not super familiar with either of these guys. By the freaking first third of the match, I was fully invested into it emotionally.
I also want to point out that we watched this match and then we went live for one of these shows.
Yeah.
Right after. So
yeah, so I was half asleep and just kind of like, all right, we're doing this next. And by the end of it, I was like, well, that was one of the fucking best matches I've seen. It's like, so yeah, that one took the cake by far and away for me.
Well,
but you still got a number 1.
I've got a number 1, and much like other people's number 1s, it is Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada at Dominion for the IWGP 2 out of 3 falls match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. A lot of people don't like this match. A lot of people, Big Dave says it's the greatest match that has ever occurred. I'm giving it 7 stars.
Right.
Some people...
He's a super mark for those two.
Some people, feel like it went too long, but just like its length and everything made sense in that match. Just, it had to go past an hour because their last match at Dominion went for the title, went an hour, so it had to go past that to justify the no time limit.
Yeah.
The way it was 2 out of 3 falls with Okada getting the first fall. And then you're like Omega working from behind, but him getting that first fall just worked in the storyline for Omega, and just finally the climax for me. And I like Okada, but I was kind of sick of him, especially after Wrestle Kingdom when I really wanted Naito to win.
Remember.
Yeah, yeah. So I was damn sure ready for Okada to lose the title at that point, and to do it to Kenny Omega and finally see the culmination of that feud and see, Kenny Omega win the IWGP title. Whether or not he's had a good reign with it thus far, maybe not, but at least on that early morning in June, I was very, very excited and optimistic. And the reunion with the Bucks at the end of it, the pageant being buried for all their differences, and then joining with Coda and everything just kind of being what it was just awesome. And while it's still probably not, I don't think it's the greatest match of all time. You all know the greatest match of all time to me is still Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, but this is probably pretty damn close. And I really enjoyed it, and it is what it is. So that is our top 10 favorite matches. Now we're going to go to the Geeky Awards. Woo! The Geeky Awards. I just named that like in 2 seconds.
Which I've put like no thought into.
Yeah. Well, that's what's going to make it even more fun.
That's going to be great.
It's going to be more fun, yeah. What we're going to talk about. We're going to discuss. We're going to I've stolen some of the Wrestling Observer's topics. And their awards they give out.
They've been around for how many?
Yeah. The most underrated, the most improved, the promotion/brand of the year, because we'll look at WWE as 3 separate entities for this one.
This is fair. I mean,
the
flavor.
The show of the year, and finally the wrestler of the year, and most underrated. Do you got anything for that one, Jedi?
Ooh. Good question. There's so many people in WWE they're doing nothing with, which leads me to want to say underrated.
We'll go for it.
Shoot, just off the top of the head, earlier we were talking about Nakamura and Rusev. I mean, they've done nothing with them, and there's so much potential there. It's not even funny. I mean, we know what Nakamura is capable of, and I haven't seen enough of Rusev to say, but the fact that they have done nothing with him when he, got the fans behind him is like, just kills me a little bit. It's like, try. Revival this year.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm kind of going more from a people who watch it and aren't familiar,
right?
I guess. If I had to think of someone that the general wrestling community underrates? I don't know. I'll let you go first on that one, I think.
That's a tough one for me, too. I think for most underrated, I think I'm going to go with Bushi from New Japan Pro Wrestling. He's, kind of the forgotten... I feel like he's kind of the forgotten member of Los Ingobernables de Japón. But I feel like he's had some good matches, and I feel like he just doesn't... At least from what I see, there might be people that come out here and, say like, I love Bushi, and, this is just from what I've seen. I don't feel like he gets the love the other members of the stable do. He doesn't get the love that Naito does. He doesn't get, some of the credit that Evil and Sonata do. And then Hiromu, just before his unfortunate injury, obviously he was the, obviously to you, but for some of the people watching this, he was IWGP Junior Heavyweight Champion. So, but then there's kind of just Bushi sometimes just kind of left out in the cold there. So, I think I'm going to go Bushi in this one, just to kind of... It's kind of not so much to be different, but just because I feel like, I'd love to see Bushi really break out and kind of lead the junior division. If Hiromu does not come back from his injury, see Bushi really have a great run with the IWGP title this year. I see him break out.
Nothing is really coming to mind. I'm trying to think of people who are underrated. And it just is. Because, I don't know. Fans are so smart these days. Like, we kind of see who has talent.
Yeah. Well, who has talent that's not really getting the love that they should? You mentioned some names.
Yeah.
You can go with those.
I mean, so many different people right now. Shoot, poor Dolph Ziggler. I mean,
Okay.
Dolph Ziggler, I mean, he's got all the talent, and they basically killed him dead, but, he's still there. I mean, he could still deliver. I mean, could you imagine if they put him in NXT for a while and actually with him or something?
That would be amazing. Let him wrestle Gargano and Ciampa and Adam Cole. Baby.
Yeah. I mean, him and Rollins can go, but they've done it 50 times, so it's, time to do something.
You know what? I'm actually going to add another one here.
Okay.
We're going to have a tag team of the year.
Oh, that's a good idea.
This is
I
me
might
talking.
have to go with Dolph Ziggler.
All right, we're going to go with Ziggler. All right. Next up is Most Improved. Who do you think has improved the most from 2017 or to 2018 or 20? Yeah, whatever.
Well, without a doubt, just because of the presentation, Becky Lynch has gone from just there to holy crap, the only person we care about on the main roster. I mean,
to a point, I still want to like Bryan.
We got AJ Styles, but you know
what
I mean.
Like, not since the Yes Movement have I been like as passionate about a wrestler.
Yeah.
In WWE, I'm pretty passionate about.
I mean, she kind of went from 0 to 500, in 2 months. So
I'm torn on two for that one. One is Becky, just because of how much we care. But I've always really liked Becky Lynch. I saw her talent.
That's fair.
My other one, and no, I'm not just stealing this from another YouTube channel. I was kind of having similar feelings. You can even hear me talk about these similar feelings on past episodes.
I guess I've
Carmella. Because when she won Money in the Bank last year, I was rolling my eyes and like, this fucking chick. No, look at all who's there, And when she was, now granted, I didn't like how the feud played out because it fucking messed with Asuka. But just her interviews and everything leading up to that match with Asuka, where she was just like, I don't know if it was like, she was either had no awareness of what she was getting into, and she's just like, who's ready for Asuka? I am! And I'm like,
right.
She just had either no self-awareness, or she was just playing off like she was just that dumb.
Yeah.
Or if she was just that full of herself to think that it was gonna be that easy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, I really enjoyed that. So on one hand, I have somebody who went from just another woman to like the best thing in WWE right now, or somebody who I like just literally changed opinions on, so I don't really know who to go with in that one. I think I'll go Becky just because, you know.
That's fair.
You know, but honorable mention to Carmella there. So
sounds good to me. We're really going with most improved character more than we are ring work, I think. There, I mean, you know, but that's what got our attention. I mean,
yep.
Anybody who says character work isn't important doesn't understand.
You have to have a balance. Don't get me wrong.
Otherwise you get Elias.
I love his character. I love his character, but sometimes in the ring I'm just kind of like, oh, buddy.
Yeah.
Buddy, no. I didn't like that at all. But you got a good character and I like
right, you know.
That's kind of the. I want to see him do well, but I might be on my phone during his match.
Right. Yeah.
Promotion or brand of the year?
Well, I haven't seen enough of anything outside of the WWE umbrella to formulate any opinion besides NXT myself. I mean, SmackDown has been solid all year. NXT, I feel like, has kind of been on fire, at least with their main stories. Obviously, you have, you know, a lot of in-between stuff. It is the developmental brand, but
yeah,
that would be my leaning. I mean, from what I've heard, you know, New Japan is no slouch. I mean,
but you haven't seen a whole lot of New Japan.
Exactly, so I can't comment personally on how good they've been. It's all been secondhand for me, so I'd have to lean towards NXT myself, with SmackDown kind of running up and Raw at the very bottom. Like, I'll just say New Japan's better than Raw right now, because, oh man, Raw's been bad.
I don't think that's the understatement of the year. But, you know, I would have probably gone with NXT for about the first 8 months of the year. I was very, very solidly, when everybody was saying, New Japan's the best, nothing's better than New Japan, I'm here going, you know, there's NXT. You know, NXT's doing real well, too, from top to bottom.
Johnny Wrestling,
Undisputed Era,
right.
You know, I mean, like, you know, when everybody was talking about Dominion, you know, I took a lot of heat on Reddit and with some other friends on message boards for saying, you know, Dominion show of the year. I'm like, yeah, well, NXT says hold my beer because, you know, they had TakeOver Chicago right after Dominion, and I think it was just, you know, as I say, I think, you know, so you take away Kenny and Okada, you have then that's what pushes that show over the top. Mm-hmm. In comparison, is just that one match. Everything else, I give the nod to NXT. So I was very, very solidly saying NXT until the G1 climax, and just having that period of just everyday solid wrestling matches. Even, you know, I didn't really mean to shit on A-Block, but, you know, but even A-Block, you know, had some tremendous matches. Yeah, not everything was a classic. There was some, but everything was solid. You know, the breakout of Jay White, another Tanahashi Okada classic, the opening night with Tanahashi and Minoru Suzuki, and then just all the matches throughout the G1 that were just fantastic. You know, from the B-Block side thing, there's Kenny and Naito, Zack Sabre Jr. and Naito, Sonata and Naito, Ibushi and Naito, and I'm just rocking off all the Naito matches, but I mean, you know, Ibushi and Zack Sabre Jr., Ishii and Omega, you know, and then, hell, I mean, I have 3 on my top, my top 10, you know. So I was very, very much all NXT until the G1 climax, and NXT has bumped itself up to where it's like they're almost on par. Like NXT's right here, like it's nipping at the
matches for NXT takeover matches. So.
Yeah. Like, NXT is just right there grazing it, but I gotta go New Japan just because of all the great matches in the G1 Climax.
That's fair. Oh. Isn't it interesting that the biggest wrestling company in the world actually does have one of the best brands in the world?
It's just
but
not
it's
seen
the
by
one that
anybody.
nobody watches. Like, I mean, not nobody, but it doesn't have a cable.
The one that doesn't have
a cable deal.
Show of the year. Show of the year. Or event of the year,
right.
I guess we should say.
Definitely not WrestleMania.
Nope. Nope.
Go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum. Backlash was the worst show of the year by far.
I agree.
As far as best,
Any random Raw.
Oh man, yeah, right. No kidding. That's fair. Good grief. I don't know. There's so many good takeovers that I've seen. Shoot, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Takeover Brooklyn 4 just because I had like 3 matches from that on my top 10 list, so like kind of by default that one gets the nod for me, but that doesn't take anything away from literally the rest of them. And I haven't seen all of them back like fully either,
right.
So I mean I'm gonna go with that one just because like I had no complaints with that show, and yeah, of what I've seen. So
this is gonna be another one. It's gonna be a bias.
It's a hot take.
No, it's not a hot take. It's gonna be one where I'm gonna admit bias because there are once again, obviously you know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going.
Yeah. There are a lot of shows that were objectively much better, and I will objectively say Dominion, Takeover Brooklyn, Takeover Chicago, all better shows. But again, atmosphere, best wrestling atmosphere I've ever been a part of in my life. It's a bias because I was there, but
also hell, the historical significance of it.
yes, it's all in. All in is my show of the year, and you know, if I've lost some credibility, you know, I get it, but I gotta. Again, we're going with our favorite, not you know what is objectively the best. You know, my favorite quarterback of all time is John Elway. Objectively, you know, he's number one in for me forever. Objectively, are there people that were better than John Elway? Absolutely, but I don't care. John Elway.
Our job's not to try to be like Big Dave. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, next one is the one I just added here in the middle of the show because I feel like we need to.
We're doing it live.
Tag Team of the Year.
Tag Team of the Year. It's a tough one because, you know, I've mostly watched WWE programming, so I might have to go with Undisputed Era by default.
Well, that's exactly what I was going to go with.
I mean...
I'm going to go with Undisputed Era just because of all the... And also kind of, you know...
Shout out to Mustache Mountain.
Well, because I felt bad about not including that match with Mustache Mountain in their...
that's fair.
And their other... they had just so many great takeover matches and then War Games, so I feel like that's kind of... Got to give them some dues on this show.
Yeah, that's fair.
The prestigious Geeky Award.
War Raiders were my favorite part of the War Games match.
I still feel like WWE, like, it was a great match, but I still feel like WWE doesn't get War Games.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, there was just a lot of interesting things in it.
Oh,
it also seemed like it, I feel like it went maybe just a little too long. There was some dragging in it, but I don't know.
I don't know. To me, like, it's just one of those things. Like, and it's nitpicky, but I'm just kind of like, you know, there needs to be a roof on the cage. There needs to... You know, Adam Cole would not enter first in a War Games match. You know, Ric Flair never entered first when the Horsemen were in War Games. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, there is no, like, you're disqualified if you run away. It's like, then run the fuck away. Undisputed Era, your belts aren't on the line. Get the fuck out of there. You know, you're the bad guys.
Right.
The whole point of War Games was, you know, you have to entrap them because now the Horsemen couldn't run away.
Right.
From the Road Warriors and Dusty and Magnum or Nikita. with having the roof open, it's just kind of like, oh, we don't want to lose all our, be hurt and lose all our belts, so bye, bitches. But it was still a great match. It's nitpicky, but that's what kept War Games off. On that little tangent there, but still, Undisputed Era, gotta give them credit, gotta give them some love because they are.
Yeah.
And enjoy them while they're still on NXT because tag team wrestling on the main roster is not that great.
Right? That's why I cringed a little when you asked. I was like, what tag teams?
Again, I forget that, to be fair, like
Usos.
New Japan doesn't even really have the. I mean, they have good tag teams, but they have two tag divisions and they're not really at their best. The junior tag team and the heavyweight tag team. But
should we mention they announced officially the women's tag titles?
Oh yes, that's gonna be awesome. Something that finally with all these female stables, they're gonna finally.
It better damn well be a traveling belt because otherwise it's gonna be a disaster.
Yeah. Finally, all these women's tags have been forming in these women's stables like the Riot Squad and.
Awesome Hug Connection.
Yeah.
Just to name a couple.
Yeah. I think so.
Naomi and Asuka can always, for now, she's women's champion.
Yeah.
That's always a thing on the back burner.
And finally, Wrestler of the Year.
I think, statistically, I hate to do it to AJ Styles, who held the belt for over a year and consistently delivered, because he's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel Bryan, especially now, I'm enjoying the hell out of that heel run. But
what run?
I'm sorry. He's turned villain. The new Daniel Bryan. I'm enjoying the hell out of the new Daniel Bryan.
What?
He's so rude.
My favorite thing. My favorite thing was a sign that at TLC that said, "I wasted resources to make this Daniel Bryan sign."
Nice.
I might have to make that sign.
Right.
For WrestleMania, it said trees died to make our sign. Make my sign.
That's nice. I love it. I'm going to have to go with Gargano.
Gargano?
Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to go with him because if you listen to my list closely, he's in friggin' half of it. I mean, I can't deny the guy. He's and his character arc, has been fascinating.
And it's not even over yet.
No, definitely not. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Gargano.
That's a good one.
But I had to give a shout out to AJ and Daniel Bryan and even Ciampa because it takes two to tango. He's been central to that. So, plus, who gets booed legitimately like he does these days? He had no entrance music for a while.
Yeah,
he's such a villain. It's impressive.
I really, really, really wanted to give it to Becky Lynch.
That's fair.
I really wanted to just because of how excited and passionate I am for Becky Lynch and how much I just really want to see her beat Rousey in the main event at WrestleMania. But, and this is not a slide on Becky Lynch or Gargano for that matter, or AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and reinvigorating his career with this new character. AJ Styles for being the lone good part of an entire company, with the exception of NXT.
Right.
For a year, being the one thing that made watching WWE not a complete waste of time. So those are my shout outs.
Struggled to carry.
Yeah. But half of my list has matches that involve this individual. There's 1, 2, 3. That's close. That was 3. 1, 2, 3. Not 4. Well, close to half. But I gotta go with Kenny Omega. There's Kenny. Yeah, there's more of his matches on my list than anything else on. Yeah. Than any other wrestler on there, and yeah, he's it's Kenny Omega. Gotta go with Kenny. Again, shout out to everybody I mentioned. They've all done a tremendous job this year, and they all deserve recognition.
And
You
Becky-
know, I really wanted to give it to Becky, but I had to think like,
In your
but
defense,
Kenny-
it's only been like a quarter of the year that she's
yeah,
really, been on fire. So, I mean, Kenny's kind of been all year,
yeah.
you know? I mean, so, you know, there is
I
that.
mean, there's
Becky,
even-
Becky, go for 2019.
It could very well be.
Keep going.
But yeah, that is that's pretty much it for the first ever year-end Geeky Awards. Woo! Congratulations.
Landmark.
I will, if I ever see any of these individuals, I will give them their trophy, or possibly a $5 coupon to Casey's General Store as their
Go
reward.
Midwest. Go.
Yeah. I don't know how I'll present that to a show or a brand, but I'll mail it to Gato, I guess, and I guess I'll give them to Cody and the Bucks for promoting the show. You know, we'll go with that.
There you go.
That is it for us. Let us know what your favorite match is, and what your opinions on the year-end awards and what you'd give it to in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, see others like it, please like, share, and subscribe. Check out my channel for more videos, not just from the world of pro wrestling, from the world of comic books, video games, and all things geek culture. Go like my Facebook page at facebook.com/athleticgeek89. And go follow me on Twitter at athletic_geek89. Jedi don't have social media because, as we established earlier, he's got kids and he's got a job and he ain't got time for that shit.
Yep.
But other than that, Happy New Year, and we're just two marks. We're out. See you next year. Oh, gotta love it. Live TV.
That's right.
Gotta love it.
It was just an earthquake. That's all.
Earthquake, like the natural disasters.
Oh.
Yeah. Shout out to John Tenta. We're still live. I'm rolling with this. Bye-bye.
Oh.